All right, welcome here to the last week. Good job, everybody. We have done 6 weeks. We've done a semester of history in 6 weeks. Um, yeah, hopefully, I mentioned this in the emails, but hopefully you enjoyed learning about world history. Yeah, it's kind of condensed. On one hand, it's a lot of information, but because it's each week, hopefully it kind of flowed together a little bit. And hopefully you can walk away. I mean, the whole point of this class is to walk away with a better idea of the world around us. So hopefully you can kind of see how things are a little more connected, make a little more sense of the present by looking at the past. And it's really that's why we have these world history courses to kind of zoom us out a little bit. And really, hopefully, from my side of things, my goal is to give you some of this knowledge, and hopefully, you know, maybe 5 years from now, you're doing some meeting somebody from somewhere else or doing some trivia somewhere, and you're like, hey, man, I remember that from world history class. So yeah, but thanks for coming along. It's been great reading all of your discussion posts and other Padlet presentations throughout the summer session. I did kind of scan some of the discussion questions and responses today. Those look really good. Good job. Again, zooming out, the ability to zoom out. What is going on today? How does it precipitate through the past to the present is always good. So I'll look at those over today, get those back to you today or tomorrow. Then all we have left is the final exam. It is open from Friday to Saturday. I do want to iterate. I need those done by Saturday. I'm going to grade them on Sunday, and I've got to put the grades in on Sunday. They're due, and then I got to switch over because if I don't know if people are probably aware, the next semester starts a week from Monday. So kind of fast. So I gotta, so make sure you fit the final exam in that period there. So great. I think that's it. Discussion on my end, discussion questions. I'll get those back to you, and then you guys do the final exam. The content for this week, again, no real new information that kind of got us to the 21st century last week, because that's really, as I mentioned in the lecture, history is about cause and effect, and right now we have a lot of causes. The effects of the present will be felt in the future, and then we can look back and kind of see. So it's really hard to make history is not predictive. It's not like we can rub the crystal ball of history and see what's going to happen. It can inform us about what trends of the past. Sometimes some people says history doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. Is sort of a nice way to look at it. That there is some patterns that we can adjust, and that's kind of what I tried to do with this last bit of lecture here. Is look at some of these patterns and trends of the 21st century to kind of see where we're going. And hopefully you saw some of the trends that I think are rather promising, right? That, the rise of democracies, that the peoples, we talked about nations, how nations envision themselves. You guys put together your nation. Hopefully you can see that a little bit more. I don't foresee a future anytime soon that nations are going to not exist. Maybe in the future that could be, but for a while, for the present, for the immediate future, nations are going to be there. So how these nations going to be constructed, and I think trend wise, democracy, having citizens participate, is a good thing. Our democracy is perfect? Obviously not. There's challenges. But that's where school comes in. That's they're being an informed citizen, having a better idea of what kind of nation you want, and then how to use this democratic process to achieve that. So, that's a good trend. Again, I think the global health stuff's a great trend. We are healthier. We have access to more food, less famines. Our life expectancies are always increasing, and that's indicative of better health. Better awareness of the world around us. My favorite graph is the birth rate, or the death, the child death rates have dramatically dropped off, and with that solves a lot of problems, both in a public world, with less populations needed, but also on a personal level. Imagine if 4 out of 10, 5 out of 10 children died. That would be bad. And we don't have that anymore. We have very few that child mortality rates decline. Again, literacy rates are particularly with younger generations through the roof, right? I mean, and that's building these, having access to information, being able to understand the world around you. Hey, what is this? Why is this here? And being able to ask questions about that. And hopefully after this history class, being able to sort of analyze those answers. Is this accurate? Does this make sense? How does this align with the past? Those kind of things, And relatively peaceful time, though. There's definitely ongoing conflicts. I gave some backgrounds to some going on here. There's some challenges. Obviously, I think climate is one. How to be more sustainable, live within our means. I think that's a good thing. Wealth equality, making things a little more equal is also a nice something that needs to be. That's a thing from the past that rhymes, right? That in periods of time where there's drastic disparities of wealth, when things need to change, sometimes those are violent, and I think that's what we're trying to avoid. Learn from that and maybe address it in a way that will, alleviate some of those issues. So. Great. I think that's it. At least on my end. If anybody has any questions, let me know. Thanks a lot. Hopefully you've learned some things about world history, and I'm happy to have taught you that. So have a good rest of your week, and good luck on your coming semester or whatever you're doing in the